She thought he was just a strange customer, then she discovered he owned the hotel. Insane twist, the front desk of the Hazelwood Inn was a hive of peculiarities. Mia had seen her share of odd customers, but this one left her feeling uneasy. He walked in with an old leather suitcase, his clothes disheveled, his eyes darting around like a frightened rabbit. His presence sent a shiver down her spine, yet something about him intrigued her. The air crackled with tension as he approached, shuffling closer despite the dim lighting drawing shadows across his face. What was buried in those depths? Was it fear? Or something darker? As the hotel's fluorescent lights flickered, the man whispered a name that made Mia's heart race: Grayson. It slipped out like a chill of dread. She felt her throat tighten. Just days ago, there was a commotion in the lobby about a missing person named Grayson, an artist renowned for his charismatic exhibitions. Disappearance or not, Mia couldn't shake the feeling that this stranger held keys to secrets that could shatter the mundane facade of the inn. Customers waited impatiently, mumbling amongst themselves. "That guy gives me the creeps," one woman remarked, her voice tinged with a mix of fear and curiosity. Suddenly, the inn's phone rang, piercing the stillness. Mia picked it up, but all she heard was heavy breathing on the other end. She hung up, a lump forming in her throat. The man grinned through the uncertainty, a smile that infused dread deeper than the shadows swirling around him. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." Mia watched the strange man closely, each tick of the clock echoing like a drumbeat in her ears. Suddenly, the front doors burst open, and a gust of cold air swept through the lobby. The shocked gasps echoed as a group of detectives stormed in, eyes scanning the room like hawks searching for prey. "We're looking for Grayson," one shouted, and Mia's heart stopped. The man in front of her stiffened. What was his connection? Did he know where Grayson was? A sense of dread loomed like a heavy fog, wrapping around her mind. As the detectives approached, the stranger's smile faded, replaced with a mask of fear. A chilling realization hit Mia: she was caught in a web of mystery and danger she never anticipated. Who was this man really? What happened to Grayson? The chilling tension thickened, and she knew this was just the beginning of a twisted game that had linked their fates. Mia's heart pounded in her chest as the detectives closed in. The air grew heavy, the scent of sweat and anxiety curling around her. She glanced at the man, whose eyes shifted nervously, flickering between the detectives and the double doors, as if weighing his options. Would he bolt? Was escaping his plan? "Sir!" one of the detectives barked, pointing an accusatory finger. "We need to speak with you. Do you know anything about Grayson's disappearance?" The stranger hesitated, his mouth opening slightly as if ready to protest, but the words never came out. Instead, he swallowed hard, and his gaze fell to the floor, a lost lamb straying too far from its flock. The hum of murmurs among the onlookers grew louder, curiosity mixing with fear. What do you want with him?" Mia heard herself ask, the words spilling before she could stop them. She could feel the weight of the room focus on her and the stranger. He turned to her, vulnerability flickering in his eyes as if she were his lifeline. "Everything," one detective replied grimly. "Grayson's missing. No one's seen him for days. We believe he may be in danger." Mia's stomach churned. Grayson, the celebrated artist with a magnetic personality, how could this be? 1,000 questions raced through her mind. She felt the chill creep down her spine again. She couldn't let fear dictate the next step. "Look, I don't know this man," the stranger finally stammered, the tremor in his voice contrasting sharply with her earlier sense of foreboding. I just arrived. The detective narrowed his eyes. We have evidence suggesting otherwise. You need to come with us. At that moment, the lobby descended into chaos. Other guests demanded answers, voices mixing in a cacophony of confusion. A man in a gray suit pushed forward, eyes darting with suspicion. You should search him. He shouted, looking at the detective and jabbing a finger toward the man in front of Mia. He looks like he is hiding something. Mia felt an urgency bubble within her, a desperate need to untangle this mess. Whatever the truth was, the man held it. She needed to know what lay behind that disheveled exterior. Wait! She shouted, stepping closer to the detective. Let me ask him something first. The detective hesitated but eventually nodded, curious about Mia's sudden boldness. She turned to the man, her voice low and steady, as if threading through the tension. What do you know about Grayson? Please, you need to tell me. The stranger's eyes filled with silent terror, then, with a faltering breath, he leaned closer, whispering, They're not looking for Grayson, they're looking for me. Mia felt the world tilt, her breath hitching in her throat. Realization dawned like a storm on the horizon, ready to break and devastate everything in its wake. What do you mean? She pressed, desperate for clarity, but the hunter's clock had already struck its hour. Suddenly, the flickering lights died, plunging the lobby into darkness. Gasps erupted, panic surged, and Mia's mind raced. In the chaos, she barely heard the footsteps as the stranger darted away into the inky blackness. Mia! Where did he go? Shouted the detective, but she remained frozen, her body compelled to follow. All she could hear was her heart beating, each thump a reminder that in this dark web of secrets and lies, she was tangled up deeper than she ever imagined. That a faint sound broke through the silence, a low, unmistakable whisper. Help me! Who was she helping? Was it the man on the run or the missing artist? She swallowed, fighting trepidation. As she burst into motion, every shadow felt alive. Danger lurked, rippling just out of sight. And she was determined to uncover the truth before it swallowed her whole. Because, in this place soaked in mystery, the question lingered: what if helping one saved another, or led to even darker secrets? Mia plunged into the darkness, her heart racing. It felt as though the entire world had frozen, swallowed by the shadows. The sudden hush was almost deafening. The unyielding silence whispered of secrets hidden in corners she had yet to explore. Which way? She murmured to herself, instinct drawing her toward the faint sound of hurried footsteps echoing through the dimly lit hall. She turned a corner, her breath steadying, but a nagging fear tangled in the pit of her stomach. What if the stranger was dangerous? What if the detectives were right? Through the darkness, she could faintly hear the man mumbling to himself, a frantic rhythm to his thoughts. They can't find me, I can't go back. The desperation in his voice sent tendrils of dread crawling up her spine. Wait! She called out softly, not wanting to spook him further into flight. I just want to help you. Her words hung in the air, heavy and uncertain. Was she, in fact, stepping deeper into a trap? She thought of Grayson missing, possibly in danger. Was this man tied to that danger? His silhouette flickered before her, barely perceptible in the dark, and she felt a surge of determination. She approached slowly, her pulse quickening with every step, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. Please! Mia pleaded, sensing that whatever secrets this man held could potentially unravel everything. Just tell me what is going on. Silence hung thick, then he emerged slightly from the shadows, barely illuminated by an emergency exit sign. His face was smeared with anxiety, but something in his eyes, a glimmer of recognition, made her stop short. You shouldn't have followed me, he said, voice low. They'll find you too. Who? She couldn't mask her confusion, nor the sharp edge of fear nesting in her tone. There was no time for hesitation. I just need to know if Grayson is safe. Grayson? His brow knitted with confusion before wrinkling into guilt. You don't understand. He's caught up in something much bigger. I'm only a piece there. Suddenly, a loud shatter echoed down the hallway, like glass breaking against the fluorescent obstruction of power. Mia jumped, her heart racing again. Was it the detectives? Had they stumbled upon them? In an instant, the man didn't hesitate. He spun on his heel, darting deeper into the dark, his silhouette blending into the night. You can't help him. You need to wait. Mia shouted, but the fear was palpable, cutting through her voice. If she lost him, she might lose any chance of uncovering the truth about Grayson. The lights flickered back to life, and the lobby paled into visibility once more, the shadows retreating, but the panic in the air remained thick. Amongst the chaos, a sharp gasp caught her attention, and she startled at the sight of a woman, hunched over at the entrance of a nearby door. Then it really is him. The woman whispered, her wide eyes darting between Mia and the now chaotic lobby, where patrons clamored for clarity, the detectives regrouping. Mia felt the tingling of goosebumps spread across her arms. The woman's recognition was unsettling. Who were they speaking about? What do you mean him? Grayson's alive, the woman gasped, but he's not just the artist you think he is. A loud crack echoed as the heavy double doors of the hotel swung open, revealing a figure silhouetted against the blinding light from outside. Panic surged again. Everyone! Stay where you are! Barked a commanding voice. Every eye turned towards the door, where shadows merged with a figure dressed in a uniform that radiated authority. Mia's stomach dropped. This surge of questions threatened to overwhelm her. What was happening? As the figure stepped further into the lobby, Mia's breathing hitched, her heart in her throat. Their reputation loomed over her, a face she thought she'd never see again. Stop right there. I know what you've done. In that moment, it hit her like a steel bolt. Nothing would ever be the same again. What secrets would unfold next? Who could she trust in this whirlwind swirling around her? Mia's thoughts raced as she tried to process the barrage of chaos erupting around her. The figure advancing toward her was unmistakable Officer Harrison, the detective who had frequently been at the center of her nightmares regarding Grayson's disappearance. His reputation preceded him, and it wasn't just for his sharp mind. He had a temper that could slice through smoke. Get back! He shouted, eyes narrowing, fixating on the woman who had spoken of Grayson. Mia felt her heart race faster. The crowd seemed to shrink back, but something in her compelled her to move forward. You don't understand. I'm looking for Grayson. Officer Harrison's face hardened. Grayson's tangled up in something more dangerous than you know. You need to leave this place now. But I can't. I need to find him. Panic clawed at her throat. As she stepped closer, the tension in the air thickened, the edges of fear fraying her nerves. The woman Mia had just spoken to stepped forward, trembling as she gripped Mia's arm. They're after him. The people who took him, they want everything he knows, everything he has. You're in grave danger. Who are they? Mia demanded, the urgency of her words echoing off the walls. The woman glanced at Officer Harrison, fear gripping her features. They're not just after Grayson, you're involved now, too. Enough. Harrison barked, eyes flashing, captivating Mia's attention. You're putting yourself in the line of fire. But she couldn't back down now. What do you mean by involved? You have no idea what I've been through. Her voice wavered, yet she held her ground. Instead of responding, Officer Harrison's gaze shifted to the lobby entrance, where the double doors continued to sway ominously. A chill crept along her spine. Had the man she was chasing come back, or was it something worse that pursued them all? Before anyone could react, a group of dark-clothed men surged into the lobby, their movements sharp and decisive. Each carried an air of authority that sent a wave of panic coursing through the crowd. Find him. One growled, his voice low and menacing. Don't let anybody escape. We need him alive. Mia's breath caught in her throat. The realization hit her like a cold wave. Grayson was in the middle of this nightmare. The man she had seen moments before ran deeper into danger while she stood, frozen in disbelief. What does he know? She demanded of the detective, her heart hammering. What does Grayson know that's so important? Harrison's posture shifted. It's bigger than you think. It involves money, power, and people who will kill to keep it from being revealed. Her mind raced. This wasn't just about finding Grayson now, this was survival. Suddenly, a commotion erupted near the entrance as chaos broke out. People screamed, and in the turmoil, Mia felt the weight of helplessness crash over her. Run! Harrison yelled, shoving Mia in the direction of the back exit. You have to go now. Mia hesitated, her heart torn between fear and the pull to save Grayson. Officers rushed in, but the black-clad figures had barricaded the main exit, setting the entire lobby ablaze with panic. Behind her, the woman gasped, "We can't leave him. Do you want them to catch you too?" Harrison shot back, pushing him closer to safety. Instinct told her to flee, but loyalty held her glued in place. As the chaos unfolded, Mia caught a glimpse of a face pale and frantic. It was the man who had warned her initially. "You have to trust me," he shouted, desperation clawing through his voice. "But Grayson, I'll find him. Just go." With a trembling heart, Mia turned, sprinting toward the exit. She could still hear the shouts, the heavy footsteps thumping behind her, pushing her into a dizzying rush of escape. What lay ahead was uncertain, but she knew one thing: the clock was ticking. Grayson's fate hung in the balance, and the deeper she ran into this web of danger, the closer she came to discovering the truth about him and the shadows lurking in the night. The fear twisted into a determination she hadn't felt before. Would she manage to race against time to save him? Would she uncover the darkness that intertwined their fates? And would anyone emerge unscathed from this nightmare? Mia burst through the back exit, the cold night air hitting her like a slap. She stumbled forward, her heart pounding in her ears. The sound of chaos echoed behind her, shooting her adrenaline through the roof. She could feel their presence, those dark-clad men chasing her, relentless and cold, and she had no time to waste, searching for a place to hide. Her eyes darted around, spotting a narrow alley between buildings. She darted into it, her breath heavy and her side aching. Adrenaline surged, driving her deeper into the shadows, where she pressed against the cold brick wall, trying to control her rapid breathing. She couldn't afford to be caught now. The night wrapped around her like a heavy blanket, muffling the sounds of the city. In the distance, the frantic shouts of Officer Harrison and the dark figures faded, replaced by the rhythmic thump of her heart. Each beat reminded her of Grayson, his face flashing before her eyes, pale and frantic, just like the man she'd seen moments before fleeing into the fray. Think, she whispered to herself, desperation clawing at her thoughts. Her mind raced back to what that woman had said, about how they wanted everything Grayson knew. What does that even mean? Just then, Mia heard footsteps echoing off the alley walls. She pressed herself tighter against the brick, her heart stuttering in her chest. The shadows shifted, and she held her breath. A figure passed by, scanning the area, a dark silhouette against the dim glow of streetlights. Fear tightened her throat as she realized it could be one of them. Quietly, she remained still, fighting the urge to bolt. The footsteps faded, but that didn't mean she was safe. What if they figured out she had escaped? Her thoughts darted back to Grayson. The deeper she ventured into this situation, the more tangled their lives became. He was mixed up in something dangerous, something that could get him killed. In that moment, she felt something shift within her. This wasn't just about him anymore, it was about her, too. Suddenly, a rustle came from the end of the alley. Mia's heart raced again, but not from fear this time. There was a flicker of movement, and another figure emerged. This one flitted into the light, revealing a woman with disheveled hair and frantic eyes. "Mia!" the woman hissed, breathless and panicked. "We don't have much time." Recognizing her as the woman from the lobby, Mia's heart sank. "They're here, aren't they?" The woman nodded, glancing over her shoulder. "We need to move. Follow me." Without waiting for an answer, she turned and dashed into the nearest street, practically dragging Mia behind her. They wound through deserted streets and alleyways, Mia struggling to keep up. Each turn felt like a leap into the unknown, and the shadows seemed to creep closer. "Why are you helping me?" Mia gasped, struggling to catch her breath. "Because you're in this now," the woman replied, her voice tense. "They're going to come after you, too, if they haven't already. You need to know the truth about Grayson." Mia slowed, the weight of her fear mixing with an unsettling curiosity. "What do you mean?" The woman halted, her eyes locking onto Mia's. "You have to understand, Grayson isn't who you think he is. What he knows it's dangerous, and he's mixed up with people who won't hesitate to silence anyone who gets in their way." Mia's stomach churned. "What do you know?" The woman looked around, fear evident in her expression. "I'll explain everything, but we need to find a safer place first." "They're already on the hunt." As they pressed on, Mia's mind spun wildly. What did she mean, he's not who you think he is? The question hung in the air, heavy and solemn as they moved through the twisting streets in that moment, the adrenaline mingled with dread, curling through Mia's insides like a winding serpent. An unseen threat loomed, shadows lurking around every corner. With every hurried step, she felt the ground beneath her shake, the tender connections of her life unraveling before her. What was the truth about Grayson, and how deep did his connection to this nightmarish web truly reach? As they rounded a corner, the woman abruptly stopped. "Here," she said, pointing to a battered door at the end of the alley. "We'll be safe for a moment." Stepping through the doorway, Mia paused, glancing back into the darkness behind them. She could still hear the echoes of the chaos she escaped, and the fear of what lurked in the shadows sent chills down her spine. But the deeper they plunged into this mystery, the more determined she became to find out exactly what Grayson had gotten himself and her into. The door creaked shut behind them, and Mia braced herself. Would she uncover the truth before it swallowed her whole? Inside the dimly lit room, Mia's pulse raced as she leaned against the wall, trying to get her bearings. The flickering bulb overhead cast eerie shadows that danced across the peeling walls, and the musty smell of secrecy surrounded her. She glanced at the woman she still didn't know her name and saw the desperate urgency etched on her face. "Start talking," Mia said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "What do you know about Grayson?" The woman wiped her brow with trembling fingers, glancing around as if the walls had ears. "His real name isn't Grayson. He's someone else entirely, a ghost in this city's underbelly. He's been in too deep for too long." Mia felt a wave of nausea washing over her. "What does that even mean? How do you know this?" "I've been following him," the woman confessed, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I used to work for them. I saw him at meetings, at exchanges. He was never just a customer, Mia. He was one of them." The weight of those words hit Mia like a punch to the gut. Grayson, her Grayson, entangled in a web of lies and danger. "Why didn't he tell me?" "Because he knew it would put you in danger," the woman urged, her eyes imploring. "We're running out of time. They'll come looking for you, and if they find you," she let the implications hang in the air, heavy and suffocating. Mia's mind spun as fragments of memories flared up, moments where Grayson had seemed distant, lost in thought. Was he hiding this from her, or was he simply trying to protect her? "Why did you help me?" Mia asked, desperation seeping into her voice. "Because I know what's at stake. They don't care about collateral damage. If they think you know anything, they'll hunt you down without a second thought," the woman replied, her urgency building. "We need to get to the safe house before they track us." "Safe house?" Mia asked, glancing toward the door as the shadows outside seemed to deepen. "How do you know where it is?" "The network has safe houses all over the city. I can get you there, but first, we need to leave this place." Just then, they both froze. A faint sound, like the scrape of boots on concrete, echoed from the alley outside. Mia's heart raced again, the fear clawing at her throat. They might have already found her. We have to move. The woman sounded panicked now. She glanced toward the door and motioned for Mia to follow her. As they pushed through the door, Mia's mind raced with questions. Who are you? Why are you involved in this? My name is Lena. I was trying to bring Grayson back to the surface, to pull him away from this madness, but he got pulled in deeper than I thought. He needs help, and so do you. Every word sent a shudder down Mia's spine. Was she just an innocent caught in a whirlwind, or had she unwittingly become a part of Grayson's dangerous life? I don't even know if I can trust you, Mia snapped, frustration bubbling to the surface. Lena stopped, her gaze intense. You don't have a choice. Trust me, or you might end up 6 feet under without ever knowing the truth. With that, they dashed into the night, navigating twists and turns in a frantic escape. Mia couldn't shake the feeling of being hunted, but a spark had ignited within her. The truth about Grayson burned like a wildfire in her mind. She needed answers. As they reached another corner, Lena pulled Mia close, pressing against the rough brick of a building. Listen, Lena said urgently, her voice hushed. The people who are after you don't just want to silence Grayson, they want something he has. Something powerful. Mia's got twisted. What do you mean? Before Lena could respond, an ominous sound sliced through the night. A car engine roared to life just down the street, its headlights beaming into the darkness, illuminating the faces of shadowy figures emerging from the alley. They're here. Lena hissed, her eyes wide, with the adrenaline surging again. Mia's resolve hardened. She couldn't let them catch her. She couldn't let them take Grayson, either. Help me find him. I need to know why all of this is happening. For a brief moment, Lena hesitated, then nodded. We have to split up. I'll meet you at the rendezvous point. Trust no one. Mia grabbed Lena's arm, a surge of fear and resolve surging through her. Don't let them catch you. I won't, Lena said, and with that, they released their grip, rushing into the night in opposite directions. The shadows swallowed Lena whole, leaving Mia alone again, her heart thundering in her chest. She took a deep breath, steadied herself, and crept into the depths of the alley. With every heartbeat, her thoughts echoed back to Grayson. What had he really gotten himself into? What were they after? The weight of uncertainty pressed on her, but the fire for truth surged brighter. Ahead, she glimpsed a figure emerging from the darkness, their face shrouded in the shadows. As her heart raced, Mia's instincts screamed for her to flee, but she couldn't turn back now. Was this friend or foe? Just as confusion clouded her mind, a low voice broke through the silence. Are you ready to know the truth about Grayson, Mia? In an instant, her world tilted, and the stakes soared higher than she'd ever imagined. Mia's breath hitched, caught in her throat as the figure stepped closer, revealing a face she recognized. It was the last person she expected to see. Jake, she gasped, the name barely escaping her lips. He had been Grayson's best friend, and in Mia's eyes, the carefree jokester of their circle. What was he doing here? Shoo! Jake's voice cut through the tension, urgent and strained. He scanned the alley, his brow furrowed. We don't have much time. They'll be here any second. Who's coming? Panic clawed at Mia's chest. And how do you know Grayson? He stepped forward, pulling her deeper into the shadows. Quick, we need to move. I heard you talking about the network. They're very real, and Grayson is in way over his head. He's involved in things you wouldn't believe. Mia felt the world closing in around her. What do you mean? What is going on? Jake seemed torn, the weight of the truth pressing heavily on his shoulders. I can't explain everything right now. You have to trust me. His eyes darted toward the opening of the alley where lights flickered menacingly. The moment he took that job, he became a target. They think he has something dangerous. Dangerous? Questions swirled in her mind. She thought of Grayson's odd behavior, the late-night phone calls, the money he never seemed to run out of. But the very notion that he'd been a part of something malicious felt like betrayal, piercing her heart like a dagger. "Listen, I know this is hard, but we can't explain here," Jake pressed on, urgency coating every word. "You need to come with me." "Understood?" Mia hesitated, but the gravity of the situation crushed her doubts. She nodded. "Okay, good." He pulled her along as they navigated the alley, narrowing their path amidst the tight space between buildings. The sounds of the city faded, replaced by the growing thrum of her racing pulse. A harsh screech pierced the darkness, a vehicle slamming to a halt nearby. Jake's grip tightened around her wrist, steering her behind a dumpster just as two shadowy figures stepped out, scanning their surroundings. "They're looking for you," Jake hissed, his eyes wide. "Grayson must have slipped up somehow. They'll do anything to keep their secrets hidden." Mia's heart sank. "But why? What secrets?" "There's no time. We need to get to a safe spot." He peeked around the corner, assessing their surroundings. "There's a warehouse down the street, it's abandoned, we can hide there." Just as they started to move, a familiar voice echoed from behind. "Mia. Grayson." The name escaped her before she could stop herself. Panic flooded her mind. Should she call out to him? Would he be safe? Jake grabbed her arm, forcing her back into the shadows. "No. We can't let him see us. He's not himself anymore, I promise you that." Mia's thoughts spun as she tried to understand. "What do you mean?" Her heart was a drum, pounding loudly in her ears. "What happened to him?" "I'll explain everything, but you have to trust me," Jake said vehemently. "The Grayson you knew, he's changed, and not in a good way." As they huddled in the darkness, Mia felt her breath catch again. The tension was unbearable, boiling between them like a live wire. Her feelings of doubt melded with loyalty as she thought of Grayson, the man she loved, now shrouded in mystery. "Do you really believe he's in danger?" she whispered, searching Jake's face for reassurance. "Yes," he replied, his voice low but intense. "He's in danger, and so are you. We have to move now." Suddenly, the warehouse door creaked open, revealing Grayson, his silhouette haunting against the yellow light pouring from inside. As he stepped into view, his expression was dark, harder, almost unrecognizable. "Mia? Where are you?" he called, his voice cold and distant. Mia's throat tightened. Fear mingled with longing. "Grayson," she murmured softly. Jake's grip tightened. "We have to go. Now." Heart racing, Mia turned away from Grayson, fighting the urge to run to him. The choice pressed heavily on her. Trust Jake, or rush back to Grayson and uncover the truth. In the silence of that prolonged moment, the answer became almost unbearable. What was she willing to risk to find out what lay behind Grayson's change? But even more pressing was the question that lingered in the air: was the man she loved still in there, or had he become someone else entirely? Just as they began to bolt toward the shadows of the night, an innocent echo of sirens wailed nearby, and the hunt grew closer, wrapping them in a second layer of urgency and dread. Who would find her first, the truth or Grayson? The night thickened around them, and as Mia glanced back, all she could think was, one choice could change everything. Jake yanked Mia away from the alley's mouth, dragging her further into the shadows just as Grayson's figure began to silhouette against the pale light spilling from the warehouse. The sirens echoed ominously in the distance, blending with the sense of impending dread curling in Mia's stomach. "Stay close to me," Jake whispered fiercely, his eyes scanning the entrance. Mia's heart raced, caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. She felt like a marionette, her strings pulled between her loyalty to Grayson and the burgeoning trust she had in Jake. Every instinct told her to turn back to Grayson, yet fear gripped her like a vice. What had changed him? Suddenly, the sound of footsteps reverberated off the concrete walls, a steady march punctuated by the faint clanking of metal. Jake pressed her against the cold bricks behind a rusted dumpster, their breaths mingling in the chilling air. "They're coming," he said, his voice a tense whisper. Just wait, let them pass. Mia peered around the dumpster, anxiety coiling in her chest like a serpent, hungry and vigilant. One figure stepped halt just outside the warehouse door, silhouetted by the dim light. The next figure followed, casting a darker shadow in the night. They were dressed in dark jackets, their postures rigid and alert. "Where is she?" the lead figure asked, voice low and gravelly. Mia strained to hear, her heart thudding loudly as if it might give her away. She exchanged a worried glance with Jake. They were talking about her. "Grayson's gonna pay for this," the second figure muttered. "He's messed up bad this time. The boss won to be happy." Mia's breath caught. What had Grayson done? Suddenly, without warning, Jake pulled her away as the duo started to advance deeper into the warehouse. They stumbled back, knocking into the brick wall, where they froze, fear radiating between them. "We have to move now," Jake hissed again, voice edged with desperation. They darted through the shadows, wrapping around the distant corner of the building, hearts racing together in chaotic rhythm. The cargo crates stacked beside the warehouse looked like perfect cover. Jake led her behind them, his eyes focused, determination etched in his brow. "What the hell is happening?" Mia asked, finally breaking the silence, panic edging her words. "What do they want with Grayson?" Jake hesitated, the hardness in his expression faltering. "Mia, Grayson got involved with them. The network, they deal in things that shouldn't exist. Secrets that can ruin lives. He found out too much, but he started taking risks. Dangerous ones." Mia shook her head, disbelieving. "Grayson wouldn't do this. He was never like that." Now it was Jake who looked pained, the weight of the truth wearing on him. "People change, Mia. It's easy to get sucked in. The money, the excitement, but I know what's going through your head. If you're thinking he'd come for you, you're wrong." Even as Jake spoke, a tremor of doubt flickered inside Mia. She thought of Grayson's smile, his laughter, the warmth that had kept her anchored. But the man standing in front of her now, the one lured by darkness, was that the same person? In the distance, the warehouse door creaked open again, a gust of wind wafting through the alley, sending a chill racing down her spine. She felt exposed, every shadow feeling like a beacon signaling their location, making her heart thump even louder. "Jake," she said suddenly, voice barely a whisper but broken with urgency. "What if we really need to go back? What if Grayson is in trouble?" Jake shook his head violently, a flash of frustration sparkling in his eyes. "We can't risk it. There are things you don't understand. He's in too deep. If they know you're with him." But before he could finish, the metal door from the warehouse slammed again, a resonating sound that seemed to echo through Mia's very soul. The night air filled with the tension of secrets begging to be spoken. "Mia," Jake said, his voice trailing off, uncertainty creeping back in. Suddenly, a loud shout erupted from the warehouse. "We know you're in there. Come out and face the consequences." Jake and Mia exchanged looks, fear etching deep lines on their faces. Mia felt a mix of adrenaline and terror swarm through her veins. What would it mean for them to be found now? "I don't think we're safe here anymore," he breathed. As they made a move toward the alley's end, before they reached the exit, a figure emerged from the shadows, blocking their path. Mia's heart dropped, realizing it was her only way out. The dim light glinted off something metallic in the stranger's hands. Mia's stomach churned as she whispered just one word, "Grayson." But when the figure stepped into the light, her heart nearly stopped in horror. It wasn't Grayson. No, she gasped, recognizing the face she couldn't believe was standing in front of her. The truth was unraveling fast, and all at once Mia realized, they were out of time, and the game was more deadly than she could ever have imagined. How far would she go to find out where loyalty ends and survival begins? As the stranger smirked menacingly, her pulse ignited with dread. "Welcome to the network," he sneered. What had Grayson truly unleashed? Mia's breath hitched in her throat, the world around her blurring into sharp outlines, sudden, threatening. The figure before her grinned, an unsettling gleam in his eyes that made her shiver. It was Lawrence, a man she thought she had managed to leave behind forever until now. "What do you want?" she forced out, trying to sound braver than she felt, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her. "Why, Mia," he drawled, stepping closer, the metallic object in his hands catching the light like a knife blade. "I'm here to settle a debt. Grayson's been careless. And you, my dear, are standing in the way. Get lost, Lawrence." Jake growled, positioning himself protectively in front of Mia, fists clenched. "You don't want this." Lawrence's laughter rang hollow, echoing against the brick walls. "Oh, but I do. You see, it's not just Grayson who's in trouble. It's you too. You're caught in the crossfire now." He brandished the object, a gun. Time froze. The air thickened, heavy with panic. Mia's heart thundered in her chest as she exchanged terrified glances with Jake. They were trapped. "Why are you doing this?" Mia asked, desperation creeping into her voice. "Grayson was never involved with you." "He was smarter than you think," Lawrence replied, his smirk widening. "He dug too deep into things that weren't meant to be uncovered. And now, he's gone too far, leaving us no choice." "But I still believe," Mia stammered, fighting against the tide of hopelessness weighing down on her. Grayson had been by her side through the good times, the funny moments, the hardest times, even. "It couldn't end like this." Lawrence stepped closer to Jake, clearly sizing him up. "And yet, here we are. Looks like it's about to get messy. Get the hell away from her." Jake shouted, charging forward. In one fluid motion, he reached for Lawrence, but as he lunged, the sound of a gunshot shattered the night, causing Mia to scream. Jake instantly dropped to the ground, clutching his shoulder, pain etched on his face as he gritted his teeth. "Jake!" Mia cried, rushing to his side, her heart racing like a wild animal. The smell of gunpowder hung thick in the air, suffocating her. "Are you okay?" Just a flesh wound," he grimaced, but that didn't lessen her panic. She needed to act fast, to do something, anything to get them out of this situation. Lawrence was still standing a few paces back, savoring the moment. "What will you do now, Mia? Choose between your little friend here and the life you had." In a flash, a plan began to form in Mia's mind, fueled by urgency. "You think I'll choose a side?" she shouted, her voice ringing with conviction she didn't entirely feel. "You have no idea who you're messing with." "Really? Do enlighten me." Lawrence's amusement was palpable as he studied her curiously. "I'm not afraid of you or your network. You think you can intimidate me? Newsflash, I know more than you think." For a heartbeat, silence enveloped them, the weight of her words lingering in the air. Was it bluffing? Maybe. But infusing grit into her voice might buy them a moment. Lawrence's smirk faltered, uncertainty flickering behind his eyes. "What do you know?" he challenged, his tone growing colder, the game shifting. As she bought time, Mia felt her heart and instinct scrambling towards a path amid the chaos. The real question was, which path could save them all? Then, the faint sound of more footsteps broke through the tension. More shadows were approaching, all while Mia's gaze remained locked on Lawrence. "Not so sure of yourself now, are you?" she taunted, but fear simmered underneath, knowing it was a gamble. Lawrence, realizing the tide might be turning against him, tightened his grip on the gun, aiming toward her. "Then let us finish this. You'll be sorry you ever took that stance." As the shadows congealed into figures, rapidly advancing toward them, Mia felt a rush of adrenaline. "Jake, we need to go now," she shouted, and in that very instant, she saw her only escape route. But would they make it before it was too late? The stakes had never been higher, and as the first figure stepped into the light, a familiar face emerged, sending chills down her spine. "I was wondering when you'd show up, Mia," Grayson's voice cut through the chaos. And just like that, everything was poised to explode. Would he be their salvation or their undoing? Mia Grayson stepped into the light, casting an intense gaze towards her that sent a mix of relief and anxiety blooming in her chest. "What are you doing here?" His voice was low, yet fiercely protective, echoing through the dark shadows that loomed around them. "Grayson, I'm here to help you," she started, but the urgency in his eyes silenced her words. "You shouldn't have come. It's dangerous," he said, his voice sharp. Yet, his concern made Mia's heart flutter amidst the chaos. The weight of unresolved feeling simmered, but the moment was overshadowed by the danger threatening to engulf them. "This isn't the time." Lawrence interjected, swinging his gun towards Grayson, but he wasn't just targeting him. "You've put everyone in danger. I warned you, Grayson." Grayson instinctively moved closer to Mia and Jake, his posture shifting from defensive to resolute. "Get away from her," he growled, and in that moment, Mia saw the flicker of the man she fell in love with, the warmth beneath the danger. "Stand down, Lawrence. You don't have to do this." Grayson's voice dropped an octave, full of authority, as if he had momentarily stepped back into command of his life. Lawrence's stance softened slightly, but his grip on the gun remained unwavering, and urgency thickened the air. "You think I can just let this go? After everything you've done?" The standoff hung eerily still, fading seconds feeling like hours as Mia's mind whirled in desperation. Her heart raced, weighing her options. She needed to speak, to diffuse the tension that kept thickening with every heartbeat. "Grayson, tell me the truth. Are you okay? What did you get involved with?" Grayson took a sharp breath, straightening his posture, his eyes piercing through the chaos towards her. "I got involved with people who deal in things too dangerous to handle. I thought I could manage it. I thought I was safe." His voice cracked, revealing vulnerability beneath the bravado, and Mia felt the sting of tears beneath her lashes. "Let's just walk away from this," she urged softly. "We can figure it out together." "That's exactly what I was afraid of, putting you at risk alongside me," Grayson replied, emotion thickening his tone. Jake winced from his place on the ground, the wound smarting, but he forced himself up, shaking off the pain like it was merely a nuisance. "We need to work as a team. If we leave now, we can find a way to expose the network's secrets together." The tension shifted, Lawrence's aggressive demeanor faltered for only a moment, hesitation creeping into his eyes. "No one leaves together. Not without paying the price." Suddenly, chaos erupted as the other figures from the shadows lunged forward. Panic surged, and instinct kicked in. "Run!" Grayson shouted, grabbing Mia's hand and pulling her toward the narrow exit. The moment sparked a flurry of movement. Jake scrambled to his feet and followed close behind, adrenaline blasting through every vein. They ducked and weaved through the alleyways, the sound of pursuing footsteps echoing like thunder. Mia's heart hammered as they navigated the sharp corners, desperation fueling each of her strides. "Where do we go? How do we escape?" Panic threatened to choke her as shadows flickered when more figures emerged from darkened doorways. Grayson halted abruptly, turning to face her with a fierce intensity she couldn't ignore. "I will protect you, no matter the cost. I want to let them take you." He squeezed her hand tighter, igniting a spark of courage within her. But the threat still lurked, closing in like vultures waiting for their prey. "Over here!" Jake shouted, pointing to a broken fence at the end of a dark alleyway. They pushed through, scrambling down the rough terrain as the sounds of footsteps grew more distant. As they ran closer, Mia's chest constricted with the weight of relief and anxiety. They burst into an open area, a secluded parking lot scattered with old cars. "We need to find a vehicle," Grayson urged, scanning their surroundings, brows knitted in concentration. Mia's thoughts raced, pulling her back from the edge of despair. "There, look, a car!" she shouted, pointing toward an old, rusty sedan parked against the wall. "Let us go," Jake urged as they dashed toward it, but before they could reach it, a figure stepped out from behind a nearby pillar. "Not so fast." It was Lawrence again, his voice icy and resolute. You think you could just run away from this? In desperation, Mia stepped in front of Grayson and Jake, heart pounding in her throat. You don't need to do this, Lawrence. Let us go. Stop trying to save them, Mia. It's too late, he sneered, raising the gun again. Just as he pulled the trigger, there was a deafening crack, and everything froze. The gunshot sliced through the air like a bolt of lightning, shattering the tension around them, but at that moment, something unexpected happened. A second shot echoed, far more powerful, a bullet striking Lawrence in the arm, sending him reeling back. The crowd that had gathered around the parking lot erupted into chaos as an unmarked police car careened into view, lights flashing and sirens blaring. Officer Harrison emerged, eyes wide with determination, weapon drawn. Freeze! He shouted, his tone commanding, and Mia felt as though hope surged back to life. Get in! Now! Harrison yelled, pointing towards the open passenger door. Grayson, Jake, and Mia didn't hesitate, launching themselves into the car, breathless and shaken. As Harrison sped off, a rush of adrenaline surged, heartbeats synchronized in fear and relief. They drove deeper into the sprawling city, the sirens fading as the night closed in behind them. But Mia knew this was just the beginning. She felt a fire igniting in her chest, determined to uncover every dark corner of the truth, the mystery surrounding Grayson, and all the tangled lives that had been caught in the web of danger. As they sped away into the murky unknown, she glanced back at Grayson, eyes smoldering with unspoken promises and fierce loyalty. I will find the truth, she breathed, resolve heavy in the air around them, binding them together against whatever shadows lay ahead. And though they faced uncertainty, they would do it together, united by their shared fight against the lurking dangers of the network that had threatened to tear them apart. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and let us keep this community strong. Flood the comments section with your reactions, theories, and thoughts about the ending, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means the world, so don't miss out.